Okay, welcome back everyone. Welcome back for our casual Sunday. I'm a little bit low energy this morning, a bit tired. I guess this August 8th, Lion's Gate or whatever is happening is kind of putting a lot of energy and pressure on us. I don't know if you guys know much about that, about this famous Lion's Gate that everyone is talking about. And there's a new moon happening today as well. My observation, and again, welcome back, in a casual Sunday, the rising phoenix. We are paying attention to what is coming for 2027. We are being receptive. We are being passive. We are willing to learn, to discover, to sit here, to witness a new way unfolding in front of us, witnessing, learning, willing to go a new way. And how interesting that today, the transit, the cross, is the right angle cross of the Sphinx. And the Sphinx, it is all about new direction. I mean, what is the Sphinx? It's like a lion. For those of you who went to Egypt, and if not, you know that the Sphinx in Egypt, what is it? Is it a lion and a head of a man on the top? The site in Gizeh, it's a giant clock. It is a huge giant clock that is announcing the precession of the equinox. It's a huge giant cycle of 26,000 years in the universe. And the Sphinx, with when you look in Gizeh, you have this little thing here, like a boss. It's not boss in English. It's like a little thing like that. And this is what they call Al-Kar Balasad, which is the lion's heart, and it's pointing towards the sky, the stars of Regulus. And that's the direct connection with the man, the mythology, the man and the lions and our ancestors, and the whole giant clock of the universe that is pointing the precession of the equinox. It is all about direction. What kind of direction are we traveling into the universe, the cosmos, the field of the neutrinos, the consciousness? And if you guys are interested, I could eventually share with you this documentary that is absolutely fantastic about the pyramid and the Sphinx and the builders. But anyway, all of that to say, the right angle cross of the Sphinx, that's my observation. But this is what is happening. This is the beginning of a new quarter. This is the beginning of a new quarter. We are here. Gate 7, we left the quarter of civilization. That was a purpose that was fulfilled through form. So the civilization, we left it, and now we are in the beginning of a new quarter. And this new quarter is the quarter of duality. Everything has a duality: love and hate, and white and black, and whatever the case is, self, not self, a duality. And the quarter of duality is a purpose that is fulfilled through bonding, the way we bound with one another. And how funny that, the Sphinx, until the 4th line, this is the cross of the Sphinx. And then tomorrow, when it will be the 5th line, that's going to be the left angle cross of the mask. So it is time to remove the mask of ourselves and look at the name of the gate. The name of the gate, the army, the role of the self in interaction. The self, the role, what role are you playing with yourself? What is your interaction? What role do you want to continue to nourish and to play in the duality of being a human? And then the Sphinx, what is the direction that you are taking by playing this role? So much can be said here. So the Lion's Gate, the full energy of new moon, Lion's Gate, the cross of the Sphinx, the role of the self in interaction, the 4th line today. Whoa, and there's a conjunction with the moon right now, a conjunction with the moon. And the moon is in 6th line, the administrator, the administrator, the ability to share and justly abortion power. Sixth line is all about having an objectivity, being here to observe. So right now, what we're doing, folks, see, we have tons of people connecting. They are all here to observe and witness what the hell is happening, why I'm feeling so, why I'm feeling like I'm shuffling through life. I all shudder. I'm like, oh, you know, what is happening? So it's very, very fascinating. That's my start. That was my little start. Tom, anything you feel sharing with us?
Oh my God, welcome to a new way. Okay, we know that every quarter starts in the Sphinx, which is all about a new way. And we know that it ends in the vessel of love. Okay, so it's rather interesting to take note of something. The way coming to meet, the 44th hexagram, the last hexagram in this quarter, coming to meet or not. How can you meet someone if you're not being yourself? This is all about leaders, the army. There needs to be leaders, or there just ends up being leaders, okay? But we're not all here to be leaders. Some of us are here to be followers, okay? It's a very intriguing thing in terms of what role you play. This is a role gate. If you want to see the roles that are specific to you, I mean, this is a collective day. There are no life force channels, so we're going to be talking collectivity here to a degree. But if you want to see things that are very specific to you in terms of what role you are here to play, go look at the lines of the 7th hexagram and look at your conscious and your unconscious profile, and it will tell you what roles you are here to play. I'm a 6-2. So the role that I am here to play is a role model hermit. If you're a 4-6, it's the opportunist role model. So that's how you can find the specific things that apply to you in terms of the role that you're here to play in this coming quarter. Duality is all about relationships, all about relationships. I've said over and over again, the most important ships we will build from this point forward is our relationships. And what are those relationships based on? Are they based upon the old way, the old tribal bargain, fear, blood, and guts? Or are they based upon what's coming in the very near future? Not that far away, folks. 5.5 years, we'll be there, a little less than 5.5 years. We will leave this insecurity thing, okay? If you look at the first line, you'll see the background milieu. It's all about the authoritarian, the authoritarian. We're always looking to find where authority is, and we look everywhere where it isn't. Your authority is an inside job. You go looking outside of it, well, that's hit and miss. But the interesting thing to note is when we go to the 6th line, we go from the authority to the administrator. It is worth reading the change that we are going to have in terms of role. We're going to go from an authoritarian to an administrator. We're going to go from the authoritarian, the iron hand, both enlightened and despotic, the one who thinks they're in charge, okay? And then we go to the administrator. This is a big step. The ability to share and justly apportion power. Well, that's different than controlling everything, isn't it? The willingness to apportion power. And where would a good leader apportion power? To your inner self, to your true self, to your strategy and your authority. So once again, this is a role gate. You go and look at what the role is. You'll get information very specific to you by looking at your conscious activation, the line number, and your unconscious activation, the line number. So there's some food for thought and something to respond to. And as we say, there's endless amounts of things that can be said, but this is a coming to meet. That's the way of this quarter, coming to meet. We would like to meet as many of you as is possible based upon you having something to say today and expressing yourself. Ben mentioned early the business of fatigue. That's where the earth is right now. We're all grounded in fatigue, but it's a specific type of fatigue. It is the fatigue or not of what we end up listening to. Remember, one of the most important things Ben always says is, who are we listening to? Are we listening to something outside of ourselves, or are we actually listening to something inside of ourselves? It's something to ponder. So there's my morning salvo, and hopefully someone is willing, able, and risky enough to jump in and have something to say, because that's what we're doing. We are coming to meet. This is not a time to hide, even if you're tired. Hello, Miss Aurora, how are you? Okay.
I'm sorry, she cannot hear you because I was just showing her the name of the line today: fatigue and emotional exhaustion, appeasement and withdrawal, a role where openness is a vulnerability. That's, I was just like sharing with her the theme of the day. Yeah. It's kind of interesting because that's really what we had for, you know, since the 7th gate is in the transits, and you know, having this, I don't know how you guys have been feeling, but since the 7th gate have been here in the sun, I feel it even more and more, the meaning of being passive and receptive, and really feel the, you know, the neutrinos field, like we are really not in control, and how the neutrinos field is penetrating me every day, every second, constantly, and how I've been so influenced, so how can I say, yeah, influenced by those gates, those lines, you know, the first line, the authoritarian, the second line, the democrat, the third line, the anarchist. Yesterday that was a trip for me, and today the fatigue. It's how I wake up this morning. I was like, okay, I'm done, I'm exhausted, I don't want to fight anymore, I'm emotionally exhausted, I just need my day and leave me alone, you know, do whatever you want, I do me whatever I want, you know, for all like kind of just stupid things. And that's exactly what Tom said, coming to meet. That's the end of the quarter, the end of this quarter, the gate 44, coming to meet, the gate of alertness. It is alerting us on how, you know, we can meet one another, on how we can connect with one another. So very, very fascinating. And another thing that I would like to emphasize, and let me know how you resonate with this. Do you know the documentary The Fantastic Fungus, The Fantastic Fungi? You know, all about mushrooms. It's like a mycelium. So mushrooms are the most dominant species, or you know, whatever the thing you want to call it, but the fungus, the mycelium, it's everywhere, 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 and it's connected to everything. And that's how I start feeling and seeing myself, just like a little mushrooms, a little, you know, germ, a little mushroom in this entire universe. And the more I'm passive and receptive, the more I feel my whole body kind of like, you know, like doing compost. I start to completely myself be compost and connect to everything, you know. That's like the mycelium, right? So I'm feeling myself like being a mushrooms on a mycelium network that is this giant field of neutrinos, and the transit every day is impacting me, you know. I really feel like that. And the more I surrender, the more I relax, the more I tune into the transit, I can actually watch the movie. And it's been 2-3 days, I haven't looked up the transit. And now being here with you, I have so much aha moments. I'm like, oh my God, the last 2-3 days were just ridiculous. And I'm reading the line. Well, it was the authoritarian, then it was the Democrat. I remember the authoritarian, I was all about control. The whole day, I don't know what, I was trying to control everyone's behavior and roles and things. I went nuts. The second day was Democrats. I was like, oh, super Democrat today. Oh, I'm really patient. Oh, that's nice. Yesterday, anarchist, war. Today, fatigue. I'm exhausted. Sunday, leave me alone. I'm in pajama. I just want to sleep. So it's kind of very interesting. I don't know if you guys can observe that with you. I don't know if you guys are sensitive like this as well, and feeling really the transit moving you. So please, let's have a voice for everyone. Yeah.
I always like to hear.
Hey.
Hi. Yeah, I have really been feeling these transits and really been fatigued today. And when you start talking about who you listen to. I was feeling so down, and I was just completely exhausted and crying, and I was just, nothing is working. I'm just stuck, and I'm just frustrated and everything. And then I started listening to the recording I had with Tom, and I feel so much better.
Good. Yeah, good. Nice.
But what I have been noticing too, when I do the breath work, the last 2-3 days, I don't want to breathe. I just want to be silent in out breath, holding my breath. And so I've just have been doing that. So
yeah, we're gonna have breathwork next week again. Yeah, next weekend we will do on Saturday. We will do a breathwork session. You know, as I always say, the main goal for all of us, and that's why we are here, all of us, but we want to feel good. That's the most important things. At the end of the day, we want to feel good. We want to be sure that we are feeling good. And that's the humanity evolutions. We started with the spleen. For those of you who did Living Your Design, you know that. We start with the spleen awareness center. Then we went into the ajna, the conceptualization, another awareness center. And we are in a deep, deep mutation transition to the solar plexus, who is right now a motor. It's a motor. It's generating chaos. It's generating, a wave, an emotional wave that is not mature yet. There's so much to learn about this center. But in 2027, it will be an awareness center. So it will be fully functional as awareness, an emotional maturity, awareness, and that's really the evolution of humanity. So at the end of the day, who cares if we can survive? It's interesting. We have a formula. We have, all the money or whatever the case is. But if we feel like shit, if we don't feel good, so that's why this is our goal. And unconsciously, it is anyway. We all want this. Everything that we are doing, it's all about to feel good or to keep feeling better. If we already feel really good, we want to keep feeling good. We want to keep feeling better. We want to keep this momentum of feeling good. That's why, we wake up in the morning, we're looking for satisfaction. Oh, what can I do today that will bring me satisfaction? I want to feel satisfied. I want to feel good today. Okay, let's go to the beach. And, we initiate and we end up in the traffic, and then we get all frustrated. Oh, I don't want to go to the beach, or, whatever the case is. That's why being passive, receptive, waiting to respond, waiting an emotional clarity, waiting an invitation, those are just like little key to help us to go back to feel good. Yeah, very good point, good observation. Tom, yes, please.
I want to be very clear about what we are saying when we are talking about being passive. Being passive is not about doing nothing. It's about knowing what you're doing before you do it. That's all. Anybody who's done yoga and stood in tree pose, it looks like you're doing nothing, right? And yet you know that every single muscle in your body is fully activated in order to maintain that stillness. Okay? So we're being asked to be still, to think before we speak and act. And instead of coming to compete, which we are tired of, we are coming to meet. Actually join together, bond together. That's what this quarter is all about, the bond or not. What about the bond? Is it there or is it not? It's kind of hard to bond with people that you consider to be enemies or competitors. And you see, so, that fear-based first line theme, what I hope you all are getting, we're looking so forward to moving to this 6-line theme, not because you're a 6th line, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but because the background milieu is going to have a completely different motivation. It's going to be about coming to meet and cooperating rather than coming to meet and competing, okay? And when you talk about feeling good, when you tell these emotionally aware people that are going to show up in the world, they're already here in the world. There are some of us here. There are more coming. They're the ones that are very receptive and what is referred to as passive. Only passive in the sense that you don't wake up in the morning with a strategy. You wake up in the morning to see what the day is going to bring to you. When you tell one of those people that they got to do what we used to do, they're going to look at you with a blank look on their face and say, I have no idea what you're talking to, and you certainly don't need to be talking to me about that. Well, you can well imagine how much change that's going to be. I've been saying for quite some period of time, this is no small step, folks. This is a humongous step. And so if you've been pondering and being somewhat bothered or irritated with the way things are, and you've been going through what one would call a suffering process, count yourself amongst the blessed. You are preparing yourself for what is coming. So do your homework now. It's interesting to note that this is all about relationships, but the first thing we start off with, there's no intimacy until we go through the fourth gate in this quarter. The 59th hexagram, the gate of intimacy, that's the fourth gate in this quarter. We have to go through the army. Okay, what's my role here? Look at your profile. You'll discover your role. Go read the lines, all the 6 lines, all the 2 lines if you're a 6-2, all the 4s and all the 6s if you're a 4-6, whatever your profile is, okay? This shift is not just happening to people with the 6 lines in their profile. It's happening to everyone. So if you want to see what your role is, go to your profile, look at your conscious and your unconscious number, and go read as many lines as you can in there. Also in your own design, look and see if your conscious process is a 4, go read all the 4th lines. Those are specific to you. If your unconscious is a 6, go read all the 6 lines. Those are specific to you. So we can make this information less than collective, okay? I hope you have access to I Ching. If you don't, I think they're available online. Maybe Ben's got it on the hub. But to be able to read this language for yourself, rather than hearing me speak it or Ben speak it or anybody else speak it, and then have your own interpretation, your own conceptualization of what that means to you. That's very specific. That's when design starts to become incredibly useful to you as an individual. Okay.
I'm trying to look up what it always doesn't work when we're online. I don't know why.
Tom, is it possible that you might be able to put just what you stated in on paper so that people who are more visually processors could, because when I hear it, I don't really attain, like, grasp it as well. So
yes, I can do that and post it on the hub somewhere so that you can see it.
Yeah,
But
that's why I'm
anytime-
trying to look at, because I think it's I don't know why, like every time we online, the hub doesn't work, but it should be here on, I think on the topic when you go into groups, it should be here on under the ebook. Oh, here. No, it's not here. It's in groups. If you go in groups, then you look at book here, the book club, and then in the book club, I believe we put the entire I Ching as a PDF. So you want to look at there's a PDF that is the entire I Ching somewhere. So you will find it, and I can show you with here what Tom mean. Anyway, you have to look somewhere, but it's somewhere here. If it's not, I will, like, here, complete Rave I Ching. See, that's Vilborg. She shared it. So it's here. You can download that, Neo. And then what Tom mean is, like, if you are, I don't remember, but I think you're 3-5, correct? So if you are,
no, I'm a 4-6.
Oh, sorry, you're 4-6. So what he means is that you go through all, and when you're on my body graph here, you know, you can go here, information center, I Ching, or you download the I Ching that Vilborg put in the hub, and then you want to look at all the gates, so all the hexagram, the 64 hexagram, and you want to look specifically at your line from your profile. So all the 64 fourth line and all the 64 fifth line, sixth line, sorry. So you want to read them, you know, and you just want to read the name, the administrator, the abdicator. And then, for example, you take the gate 39, and you're going to want to look attraction, platform, and you want to read all those lines. So you will have a genetic resonance with. That's what Tom mean. Correct, Tom?
Yes, and it's a way that you can actually do a personal reading for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. I mean, self-discovery. And when you are sitting in the innocence of just you, it's an inside job. There's no one around, just you. And you read that, you don't have to react to my interpretation of it or Ben's or anybody else's interpretation of it. You're going to have your own moment with that. That's what's going to be very specific for you. And it's what we try to do in a reading, but it's why I quit doing reading. Well, I don't very often do readings. I will if I have to, but I like to do consultations to make it very personal for a person. When we're in a group, it has to be collected. But there's 12 different profiles. Yeah, go ahead.
No, this is really helpful. And also, I think that it's a wonderful exercise to do on the day of Heaven's Gate, you know, because it's kind of like there couldn't be a more perfect day to get attuned to what your solar plexus is going to be upgrading through, not to, but through and to. I guess.
So profound. Thank you for recognizing that, Neo. It is so profound. For you to have your self-discovery, then it's yours. It's yours. And now, if it doesn't seem right for you, you can ask for a consultation. You can ask for help to try to understand the language. This language and design is rather interesting because it's not moral in nature. It's not whether it's good or bad. It's whether it is or is not. Because the moment we hear any word, we automatically judge that word. Well, I like that. Oh, I don't like that. It's not a question of whether you like it or not. It's a question of whether it's you or not. And then we learn to quit we learn to quit judging everything and just own it and be with it. This is how you become yourself.
Well, this is a bit of a revelation that I had yesterday regarding that word that I had trouble with last week, selfishness. And a new word came into my day repeatedly, and it's been coming in the past week, and that is the word sovereign. And yeah, and so I think that, you know, what we're kind of looking at when the rave thing fully happens, I guess, is that everybody is now a sovereign being, but we're so conditioned by society that we don't even understand how conditioned we are. The programming is so thorough. And you know, I think if I look at it as my sovereignty and everybody else's sovereignty, then it's a little bit easier for me to process in a more abundant and positive way than if I use the word selfish.
Nice, nicely said. The same with the channel of judgment. There's such a buzz around the word judgment. Why don't we call it the channel of discernment? And ultimately, Ross said, when a person really gets to be themselves, they should write their own I Ching. Now that's quite an exercise, okay? But I mean, the bottom line is we're doing that in our mind anyway. We're interpreting it a particular way. So you're just not writing it down. So the beauty in all this is when you see what your role is through your profile and you go read those specific lines, conscious and unconscious, you become incredibly familiar. You go, wow, that's me. No one has to tell you that. You know that. That's how really, I know I'm affecting people. I watch their reaction to what I'm saying and they go, wow. I mean, I'm used to people's jaws hitting the table, right? Like, wow, this person may know me better than I do. Well, yeah, I have a tool to work with, and I'm trying to get you to use the same tool. And it will work for you in the same way it works for any analyst, any teacher, anybody. This is the real beauty, is this is not something we have to have done to us. This is something we can do for ourselves.
I like I like this. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I just wanted to say, I really like the, you know, what you say, sovereignty it's really the main core of anything that I want to share with anyone. It's just get back your sovereignty, and sovereignty is really your ability to be yourself, to make decision as yourself, your own authority. You know, it's really owning your own authority, on just being you sovereign, you know, sovereignty. And that's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. You know, abundance, the gate of spirits, the sixth line is selfishness. You know, it's really here. It's really here. And I have the channel of judgment that you know, Tom was referring to. For quite a long time, I was like, oh, I don't really like this judgment things. I don't want to be judgmental. And then, you know, when I realized that I was just making an interpretation with my mind, like a moralistic interpretation of what it means to have the channel of judgment. And then I let it go. And today I'm like, yeah, I'm a bitch. It's fine. You know, I'm bitchy. I'm going to judge. I'm going to discern. I'm going to whatever. It's fine. I'm happy with that today. You know, I like it. But yeah, it's really not moralistic at all. I like when Tom one day said to me, think about the word justice. It's just is. It's just what it is. And if we can sit with that and it's just what it is, then I feel we get our sovereignty, because we're not in the mind anymore trying to, yeah, and abundance is here. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and I have the gate 55 3 times in my profile.
Which line? Which line?
Don't ask me. I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, look at the line. Look at the line. And, you know,
I will.
Also, another exercise that I can invite you, I know it's a lot like to do, guys, but if you have time today and you don't know what else to do, so I'll show you with my body graph so you can see. So I did that. What I did is that I look at all the activation gate that I have. So all the activation gate, conscious and unconscious, and I read all the line, started at the 1st to the 6th. So it gives me a really good understanding of the hexagram itself. It's not because I have the hexagram 10, you know, 6th line that I'm not vibrating as well the full hexagram. So to understand my 6th line, I wanted to look at what's the foundation of this hexagram. What's then, you know, the 2nd line, then the 3rd line, you know, and I did the same with all of them to understand, for example, my Jupiter in hexagram 51, the shock, separation. I wanted to understand, but what's the foundation? So what's the 1st line of the hexagram 51? And then what's the 2nd line? So I went and I read all the lines for every hexagram that I have activated. So I understood fully this totality of this particular hexagram. Does it make sense? Yeah. So that's another things that you could do, you know, if you have, especially if you have hexagram 55 3 times, you know, activated in your body graph, you may want to take a look, okay, what's the totality view of this particular hexagram? Let's have a look. The 1st line, you know, it will be about cooperation. Oh, cooperation. The 2nd line, disturb, innocence. It's basically, where does it take me? When you look at the totality from the 1st to the 6th line, you can see where this is taking you for this particular hexagram. So if we look at the transit of the day, okay, where this is taking us. We started the hexagram 7, the army, the role of interaction. Well, we started with the 1st line, which is the authoritarian, being bossy. And then it's taking us to the 6th line. And what's the 6th line of the 7th gate? The administrator. So the journey of the transit that we are in right now, it's moving from the authoritarian to an administrator. See what I mean? So when you guys look at all the 6th line, from all the activation gates that you have in your body graph, you will get such a profound experience of like where this is taking you, you know? Oh, that's a trip.
In the sense that we may or may not, we may deliver pearls to you. You can be your own pearl hunter. And what an incredible satisfaction you will get in making that discovery for yourself, rather than having someone, even if they know what they're talking about, that is outside of you telling you, okay? And you get it, but when you find it yourself, it goes in deep. Talk about accelerating the deconditioning process. You know, the whole thing about us telling you, that's going away. We're doing that now because we're at the tail end of that process. But it's really beautiful. Look at, we talked about cooperation. How many times have we talked about cooperation as opposed to competition? What's the foundation of abundance is cooperation. Think about that. We quit being little killer monkeys and killing one another. We decide to help one another out. And every single person here has a beautiful design, and you have everything, nothing you don't have. The only thing your definition leads you to is a way to make a decision correctly as yourself. That's it. It doesn't mean you don't have it. And so what happens is people look, oh boy, I wish I had that. You're judging yourself. Why would you judge yourself? Why not be yourself? You do have that. It's where you can become incredibly wise. So many misnomers because we're so conditioned to get our authority from somewhere outside of ourself. That's not what human design is about. Human design is about inner authority. And for those who supposedly don't have it, okay, like a mental projector has no inner authority, a reflector has no inner authority. They have the incredible wisdom because they're so open to be wise about everything. Well, I used to say the perfect design would be if it had nothing in it. It's something to ponder. If we just suspend all of these assumptions and judgment and stay in observation, everything can be seen by you. I've been doing it 28 years, so I can wrap it off pretty quickly, okay? And I've done all the things I'm asking you to do. As a role model, there's no way in hell I would ask you to do something that I haven't done myself. That's the burden of being a role model.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is a burden.
Yeah, okay.
No, it is a burden in some way, for sure. Yeah. And especially, you know, if most of you are sixth line, conscious or unconscious, we feel a tremendous amount of pressure on our shoulders, you know, because everyone is watching us, especially moving towards 2027. That's going to be a sixth line frequency. Everyone is really watching, observing what we are doing. So it's kind of a lot of pressure.
Yeah, when you consider we would rather be hermits,
Mm-hmm.
to have everybody looking in our windows 24 hours a day. Okay, all right, fine. We're not going to get out a big violin and play a sad song. We all have our crosses to bear, okay? We're born on an incarnation cross. You carry it. That's how you find your purpose. It doesn't mean you're going to be crucified. It could be your salvation. It could be your resurrection, if you're willing to put the time in. So we're trying to give you tools to make use of here so that when we ask you to speak, thank you, every single voice that speaks. That's what this is all about, coming to meet.
Yeah. Yes,
this is Malik. Not a meet. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Malik, yeah, you want to say something?
So the transit, how many hours of difference between the transits in States and France? Because the transit doesn't affect us in the same time, right?
Yeah, correct. That's a very good question. I think it's just based on the global time, you know, the meridian global time. So I think here in Pacific time in California, it is 10:45 a.m. So you guys are 9 hours ahead. So it's like 7 p.m. 45. So you just have, this is the transit here that I'm putting for Pacific time. So it works Pacific time. But if you guys are 9 hours ahead, you want to look at the moon may not be the same. Maybe, you know, you guys are already in fifth line. No, it will be fifth line tomorrow. So during the night, it will be fifth line. So you guys, you know, are still in fourth line right now. But yeah, you just want to look at, you know, it's, I think, Tom, let me know, but I think it's just based on the global time, right?
It is. When you do your just now, it's because you're computer is set to your time, okay?
Yeah.
When you first set up a program, it asks you what time zone you're in, and that's what rectifies it to your time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're 8 hours in front of us. We will
Yeah.
be experiencing 8 hours from now what you are experiencing right now. Now, most people don't pay any attention to this, so no one's ever asked a question as important as that, okay? But that's a very beautiful question. You are in a different process than we are based upon where the moon changed. There may be, I'm not sure where the moon's going next, but there may be a channel. There may be other things going on for you. You'd be in a different incarnation cross. You probably are very close to the juxtaposed cross, and then you're going into the cross of the mask on the seventh hexagram, because you're 8 hours in front of us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I was trying to look. Yeah, I think it's just when you set your account, you know, with My Body Graphs, they may ask you what time zone are you, and
Definitely.
Yeah. So I don't
They
know.
do, and if you don't do that, your program will generate the wrong charts.
Yeah.
It's very important that you have your time set for, if you're using programming, you need to have your time set. Sometimes it'll be, maybe, but I'm not familiar with all these programs, okay? I'm still using neutrinos through Windows. I love it. I think it's the best one out there, but that's me, okay? But at any rate, it will ask you where you're at, or it will find it automatically.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't know if you guys know, but very soon, Maya Mechanic, you know, the version on PC, the Maya Mechanic version will be available as a website. So mayamechanics.com will become available, and for now, it's still in trial. So it doesn't work. You can't really use it. You can just like have a free trial, I think, or you can, yeah. But then it will be available as a membership. See, it's not going to be really expensive, like basic $6 a month, $10, like $13 for people who really want to have advanced stuff. So they are doing this. I'm very excited to start using it, because people who are on Mac, we can't have access to the Maya Mechanic version because it's only on PC. So they started to do this one. So then, you know, we will have a, yeah. All right, what else can be said about this transit? Do you guys have any questions, comments, observation? How are you feeling? You know, anything you would like to say? But so far, if we summarized a little bit, today, this is a 4th line day. So it's all about externalization. It's a really friendly day, you know, and for proof, we are almost 14, 15 of us today. And I think that's the biggest group we had so far. So it's nice to have a lot of you showing up. 4th line day, it's all about, you know, being friendly. It's a good time maybe to connect with friends, to externalize something, to share something. It's the cross of the Sphinx. So as we say, you know, 7 and 13, leading ourselves and being able to listen where we are leading ourselves. The second gate, passive, and the creative, so we can, you know, be sure what we are creating is really, you know, relate to our value. Yes, Niels, you want to say something?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was just too confused about the question before related to the time zones, because this is something that drove me nuts a couple of weeks ago already. Isn't it like that the transits are always related to the UTC time? So we are all, of course, experiencing the transits at the same time, all the time, permanently. We just perceive it as being a different time because we measure the time differently. But it is not like that what you guys are experiencing now, we have already experienced 9 hours earlier, for example. So just to make that sure, because I find it pretty confusing, for me at least.
Yeah, well, that's actually a very good question, and I'm not sure. Tom, do you know?
It's a nice clarification. It's a nice clarification, okay? The fact of the matter is we all experience the same thing. We just experience it in different time because of the different time zones. Exactly. Now you can well imagine if you get to the date line, where there's 24 hours difference, if you take a step over the line, I'm not exactly sure how all that works. They would, they would be a day behind, but they're still going to experience the same day that's already been experienced by everyone else. It's just based upon where we are at. That's all. But the experience is the same.
Yeah, at the very point of time in universal time, so to say.
So to speak, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Just
I mean, you know, time and space are an illusion anyway, so it's kind of it's quite a trip to talk about all of that, you know. But
I guess
nonetheless,
I guess the best analogy that maybe we could say, because yeah, as you say, time and space are just an illusion, but it would be some people on the side of the earth that they experience the night, and when we are experiencing the daytime, so we have the sun, you know. So I guess it will be kind of, you know, how we can understand the neutrinos field that is bombarding and penetrating us. So we are not experiencing at the really same time because the earth is rotating. So some of us gonna get the bombard, you know, of neutrinos, and the rest of you guys on the other side of the planet, you will get that a little bit later. You know, I think it's how we can, yeah.
It's actually not that much later because
yeah.
It's actually all at the same time. It's the matrix. It's the neutrinos are the thing that holds everything together in the space-time web. It's a very complicated thing. The space-time fractal, it's another dimension. And you know, when you think about how, if you, this blew my mind when I first heard it, but if you took a spaceship and went out into outer space and then were able to put a telescope onto planet Earth, you would see William Shakespeare performing on the Globe Theatre. You know, like time is never ending in a sense, and time is all present at all time.
Yeah.
So it's something that is really so complex. It's very difficult to get a handle on, really.
There's even more to add to that. Okay, if you happen to have an opposition, if the point on the planet that you're standing on, you go straight through the planet and it's the ocean, then you're not being experienced by the global village. You're just getting pure information. But suppose we're here, and what's on the other side? India, right? China, right? So what do we have here? We have not only the program that's coming through, but you see this in the dream rave, another whole level of design, okay? But when we're sleeping, we're getting their information. We're getting the neutrino information hitting them, then we're getting their conditioning. That's why here we're such materialists, and there they say those people are spiritually bankrupt. We must refine God. And eventually all this becomes the ocean, all right? But it's a different experience for different people at different times. This is why I say every voice adds something to it. The diamond is a cloudy rock until we put all those facets on it. Every voice, every point of view is what makes the diamond brilliant. So ultimately, it's not about one point of view. A point of view is precisely that. It's a point of view. That's not the view. When you add all those points of view together, now you get the view. See why we are in no position to judge anything? We're not.
So wait,
we're just here to observe everything.
I have a question, like with what you said, and it's so fascinating. You know, when you say it on one side of the planet, and if we go like straight through, we go on the other side, and there's like this conditioning or whatever. Can we say there's something related with, you know, the eclectic of the moon and the position of the node? So because, you know, it's completely opposite, right? So is it something we can say about that?
Similar to that, it's an opposition. So if, like I say, if you happen to be, it's just ocean there and nothing but fish, that's not going to really affect you that much. But if there's 1 billion people over there starving to death, well, you're going to feel that, and you're going to wake up in the morning, oh my God, we could all starve to death. We better get going, right? It's very funny to see that. And it's national conditioning, okay? It's spatially related conditioning. See why you should never trust conditioning? You want to change who you are, go to a different part of the planet. It's going to be different.
Yeah, it's true. Oh,
it's
yeah.
You know, we call it culture. We give names to it, this, that, and the other. But it's just fragmentation of the whole. What we want to approach is getting to the whole. And that's where we're going in the 6-line theme. It's more observational than assumptional or judgment. Oh, I don't like that. Well, wait a minute. You know, I don't mean to elaborate too long on that. It's
so wait, because that's
yeah.
very fascinating, because, you know, I mean, you know, could we say, if we go on the other side of the world, you know, make war and bombarding those people, could we say, oh, it's because we don't like a part of ourselves? Because, you know, because it's part of us. So we're getting, you know, what can we say about that?
You hit the nail on the head, brother. That's why we're moving towards cooperation as opposed to competition. You know, this business of deciding what we like and what we don't like is not paying attention to what is and what is not. And the truth is what is, and everything else is not. You know, that it's really quite something to ponder. And this is self-discovery that's going on at this very moment. I've never said what I just said to anybody on the planet. I'm saying it in response to the aha that Ben just had. And I went, aha. And this is how we assist one another. This is how we cooperate with one another. Rather than saying, I don't like that person. Well, why don't you just observe them for a while and see the whole thing? And then what you don't like about that person is probably something you don't like about yourself. If you didn't have it in yourself, you wouldn't see it in someone else. This is why it's never about the other person. It's always about, are you being correct in yourself? Now that's a leader who has no need to lead. He's just being correct in himself and notices that people are following. Great. Correction is to be correct in yourself is an impressive thing to see.
You know, that
it's all 6 lines that are capable of that. Everybody's capable of that.
Yeah, it's all fascinating that most of what we find in design, and I'm not saying almost all of it, but it was in the ancient Revelation book. You know, you show me, and Course in Love, Course in Miracles, and that was here. It has been here for thousands of years, and it's like no one is paying attention to that. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we took a detour.
Yeah,
it's not that the universe took a detour. We took a detour. It's called ego.
I mean, I really wonder when it happened and why, you know, those detours have been, because when you look at the ancient text, Egyptian and, you know, all those ancient civilization, they were living in harmony here. It was a lot of harmony. It was a lot of cooperation. It was a lot of beauty, and I really wonder what happened at some point and why we.
Beautiful, Ben. Thanks for posing the question. There was a strategic group in between us and the real ancients we're referring to. The ancients and the 5-centered beings, they were receptive.
Oh yeah, they were passive and receptive.
They were receptive.
The five center. So
the whole was receptive. That's what we're going back to.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. The whole 7-center being, which have been here for almost 100,000 years, something like that, was completely strategic and logical. That's what Ra was referring to. That.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's how we became an isolated sphere. If we weren't an isolated sphere, and that's another whole story, you know, we could spend forever talking about it. But we are isolated. We get the news from right here. On a world that's not isolated, they get the news from the local systems headquarters, which is the truth, as opposed to the nonsense. The universe works the way the universe works.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those are big concepts. I hope they inspire you.
Yeah.
They certainly do me.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I'm loving this Sunday. Yes, who wanted to say something? I heard the voice of someone.
Hi.
Ah, Neil, yeah.
I think that we don't have the full picture of the past at all. And we are discovering that humanity has been here for millions of years. Is the latest research that's you know, still not accepted by the scientific community. And it's one thing that the high civilizations created a lot of beauty because they were living in beauty. So we preserve that beauty. So we have the Greek urns, and we have the mosaics, and we have the statues and the buildings and those kinds of things from those cultures. But the cultures that were more warlike, which we don't know of, they probably just obliterated everything, you know, and then perhaps people who were more peaceful, who came upon a settlement of people who were the warlike types, just destroyed everything so that they could never have a home to come back to on any level. So, you know, we romanticize the past a little bit, I think, and we like to think that we have come from a place of nobility and that we're going to a place of truth, beauty, goodness, and nobility. And, you know, I hope that is correct. But, you know, there are some things that are just going to be a mystery and we'll never know.
Nice. Well, Tom, anything to say about the transit of the day, or, you know, what else could be interesting to have a look? Just global conditioning, no framework today, no channels. It's a reflector day. Lion's Gate, cross of the Sphinx. You guys want to pay attention to the direction.
If you go to show you a beautiful example, the 36 hexagram, okay? It's called the darkening of the light. It's the gate of crisis. Oh God, nobody wants any part of that, right? That's the first line. Let me read to you what the first line actually says. Resistance, the energy and determination to persevere in the face of opposition, okay? Where do you get to when we go to the sixth line? So for you to see that there is, no, we're not certain about things, but there are some indicators. We're leaving this resistance and moving towards the sixth line. Justice, the inevitable survival of right. That's what we're talking about here. We're going to get back to what has always been and always will be. We took a significant detour. We're going to reverse that detour and get back to what always has been and always will be. The truth is what is. Justice. I love this word. It just is. The knowledge and attendant faith that the powers of darkness eventually destroy themselves. Those whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make mad. Can you see that in the world right now? It's there. We've got madmen who want to be controllers. And what are the people doing? The people in France are in the streets. The people in Myanmar are in the streets. The people in this country. We're tired of it. We're tired of it. So we don't have an absolute picture, but what we know is the picture that we are looking at is not absolute. That's why we are becoming receptive and cooperative, as opposed to strategic, defensive, fear-based killer monkeys. We know that's taking place. We don't know how long it's going to take to get there, but we know we are taking a gigantic step in 2027, which is why we do the transits. It's what we're talking about. Sixth line beings, we have nothing else to talk about. We're not interested in history the way it used to be. We're standing on the shores of what's going to be. And that's what's exciting to us. And we're standing there because everybody else, all their profiles are holding us up. We wouldn't have the view if the house wasn't built. So we're just announcing, we're talking about the future. We're treating the present as if it is the future. That's how we get there. How many times when I've written something to somebody do I say at the end of it, imagine that. Imagine another possibility. I don't think a single one of you could tell me that you're here because you're satisfied with the way things are right now. I don't care what your profile is. I don't care what your trip is. I don't believe there's a single one of you could say, why are you talking about change? Everything is fine. Nobody here is saying that. The collective, it can feel something. We're at the end of this process. Homo sapiens is on their way out of here, and thank God for it. That doesn't mean humanity's on its way out of here. Humanity's fixing to take a giant upgrade, a huge and suddenly. I'm looking forward to it. And if I didn't have that to look forward to, I don't think I'd want to be here anymore. There's the tiredness, there's the fatigue, there's the competition, there's the battlefield. Who wants it? Raise your hand if you want that. There you go. So we're not trying to convince anybody of anything. We're trying to get you to imagine what you would like to live with. Imagine how you'd like to feel.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I think that's good for today. I hope you like it, the little weather checkup on the neutrinos. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. If you guys have one more, maybe last questions, comments, or observation, anything you would like to, to share, to ask about the design, the body graph of the day, the transits, or questions about the hub. If you have any, logistic, technical, whatever question with the hub, I hope you're happy. If you have any wishes, please let me know as well. Anything that you would like to see more in the hub, or anything you would like to eventually, have. I'm gonna do breathwork next Saturday for 2 weeks. If I can do the last week of August, I will as well, but I may go to Burning Man, so I may not be here. But in case, I will try to have the whole month of August breathwork. So it will be on Saturday. And then September, we will try to maybe have some nice also, meetings on different topics and stuff. But yes, please let me know questions, comments, observation before we go. No? No.
I don't need any comments. I can see faces.
Yeah.
And those smiles on your faces, that's why we're here. Mm-hmm. It's a very beautiful, observable phenomenon that when you say something, someone's response to it is their shoulders drop, their heart rises, and they're smiling. That's why you're here. I'm no smarter than any of the rest of you. I don't feel anything the rest of you don't feel. We're all here because we're feeling something and we want to feel something else. And if you're not feeling that, then you just got money to waste, and we appreciate you showing up anyway, but there's one part of me that can imagine that.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh my God, what fun, huh?
Yeah. All right, well, amazing.
I must say to you, Tom, when we had our talk, when we had our chat, I felt so stupid.
You're anything but stupid, my dear. You are sharp as a tack.
Yeah, but I just felt blank. Everything was just blank, and I was just, what?
Well, good for you. That's called observation. What? It's not, oh, I don't like that. Oh, I want that. It's just like observation. This is how we're going to get where we're going, by seeing what is, as opposed to believing what we've been told. I'm not believing that crap. If I was, I wouldn't be here talking about something else, would I? I'd be out there trying to gold plate the rims on the 4th car I own that I don't drive, and I don't own 4 cars. So, anyway, it's really more about a feeling than anything, and you'll see that's where we're going. And resistance. When you have resistance, what are you preventing? Progress. When you have receptivity, you arrive at the just is. There's the progress. What was originally intended. I don't get up in the morning with anything to do. I've done it for a long, long time. I'm over it. I get up and I have a lot less than I used to have, and I don't miss a damn bit of it. I get up in the morning and go, what's the universe going to present to me today? And I'm having a great day when I live like that. When I get up in the morning with a plan, I feel like I'm missing what's real, because you are. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. But I assure you, every single one of you are here to meet that challenge. And when you start meeting it, and when you see that the universe actually has a way that it works, you're going to go, wow, I had no idea. That's right. You had no idea. That's why I say imagine. So many beautiful faces.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Yeah. Thank you, Tom.
Can I just say something before we sign off?
Yes.
And that is that yesterday I subscribed to a YouTube channel called New Realities, and they are sponsoring or holding a 4-day conference, and they've had incredible speakers. I was blown away by the guy who was talking yesterday, two fellas, but Paul Wallace, guy from Australia, who's written a few books, really interesting stuff. Today's the last day, and if you guys have any time that you might want to spend, just maybe you want to mosey on over and see what they're doing. I checked them this morning and it wasn't interesting, but perhaps they'll have, I know that JJ Hertog from the Book of Enoch, Desiree and JJ are going to be speaking, so might be something worth checking out.
Nice, thank you.
I know Mr. Hertog. He's a personal friend of mine. It's quite an interesting man to listen to. Really, he wrote the Keys of Enoch.
Right.
And there are 64 of them. Interesting. See, there are people all over the world talking about this. We're talking about it from a design perspective. Well, many other perspectives from me, because I'm not a fundamentalist, never have been, never will be. There are many perspectives coming out of my mouth. I'm just using design as a framework to say what's true. They're all saying the same thing. We're not the only group that are feeling this. Everybody's feeling it. Some people are going, wow. Some people are freaking out. That's why I say, if you've been going through some difficulties, so-called difficulty, that's the crisis. The crisis. And what's the crisis for? Every crisis is an opportunity for progress. What's an emergency? An opportunity to emerge and see. We can see these things differently. It's a choice.
And there are some Kabbalists who are saying that the rectification of time that they have done shows that the end of days in the Messianic age is going to start. It's actually starting now. Correct. And it's so in line with design, and that their end date for the beginning of the Messianic age is 2030. So it's so close to 2027. And it's like, it's just kind of mind blowing that other groups are feeling and thinking and consider the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, you see, they refer to us as Agendonters, okay? I won't tell you who they are unless you ask. But those who actually know refer to us as Agendonters. It's a coined word. And it is those who can find true north when the compass is spinning out of control. They are impressed with us. We should be impressed with us, that we have survived all of this. And we're tired of it. So the crisis brings the opportunity for progress. Nothing more, nothing less. The emergency is an opportunity to emerge and see a different way. Nothing more, nothing less. And it's available to every upright biped on this planet. 99.9% of them are not paying attention to it. That's okay. That's okay. They're Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'm personally not inconvenienced by the fact that I do not have to deal with Tyrannosaurus Rex here in my neighborhood. That doesn't bother me a bit.
Yeah. What an amazing time.
What an amazing time. That's exactly correct. And when we quit judging everything and just observe things, wow, the energy that's available for something else to feel. And that's what's coming. It's not something we have to do. It's coming. That's why we talk about receptivity and passiveness. We're going to let the universe take over, and it does a fine, good job without us tampering with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
I had so much fun, huh?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for showing up. You guys are the best. That was really cool. So much appreciation for all of you. And I will put the recording on, like usual, on YouTube, and put the link. It's a private link, so nobody on YouTube can see it, but it's, when I put it on the hub, it's for all of us. So I would put the link in the hub, like I do every Sunday. And
Thanks
I'm
for all you do, Ben. Thanks for
Yeah.
all you do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And oh, thank you, Deb, for the comments. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for everyone, and I'm seeing you next week. Next Saturday we have breathwork, and Sunday it will be our meeting. So those of you who want to join for the breathwork, just be sure you click on the link and you join. And that's it. It's under the topic, and the topic breathwork. So I think the event is here. Or if you click on the event section, you should normally see the next Saturday event, breathwork. So if you're interested in breathing, you're more than welcome.
It's an incredible experience. It's an incredible experience.
All right. Have a lovely evening, day, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much. So much love. Beautiful all the time. Bye, everyone.
Adios.
Bye.